They want to look good online. I was doing websites for $1,000. I was making brands for, $500 to $1,000. I was completely devaluing my time, but I love the transformation. I love when a client can see themselves in a different caliber just because they have these beautiful, aligned, high-functioning assets. I wanted to make an intentional and conscious strategic shift from working with people who had more time than money to people who have more money than time. Hello and welcome to the Art of Lost and Found. I'm your host, Brooke Estin. I am a brand and business designer specifically focused on helping creatives, coaches, and service providers create more flow and ease and momentum in their lives and businesses. As a designer, I have a lot of people coming my way who want the same thing. They want to look good online. The way that they think they can do this is through branding and a beautiful looking website. They're not wrong. And most people that come to me have a sense of what they want, but I would say that the majority of people who come to me are also coming to me prematurely. So today I wanted to take this opportunity to explore when to say no to clients in a way that is in deep, authentic service to them, as well as enhancing and growing your own business. So I've been doing this entrepreneurial thing for about 10 years now. I'm just shy of 10 years. And when I first started, I started like everybody else. Somebody who had come from corporate or more established jobs. My background was in marketing, design, communications. So I started off as a freelancer. I hit up my network. I talked to my friends, people who were 1 or 2 degrees removed from me. And I just started searching for people that I could serve. But as somebody who was new to freelancing, who was insecure about how to hold all of the structure that is required in running your own business by myself, I was taking on a lot of projects that gave me a very low return on investment. So when I say that, I mean, I was doing websites for $1,000. I was making brands for, $500 to $1,000. I was completely devaluing my time, and I was earning in the early days, maybe $25 to $50 an hour. It was brutal. It was necessary because of how much I learned, but it was brutal. And I thought that I had left working for somebody else because a 9 to 5 felt like too much, but I ended up swapping that for working pretty much 24/7. So definitely not what I wanted. It was something that I sort of just fell into. As I did more projects, as I gained more of a reputation, as I started getting referrals, as I started feeling more and more like I could handle all aspects of my business, from getting clients to signing them and doing all of the admin stuff to project management to delivery, all of the things. As I started to gain more confidence, I also started to increase my prices. And as you can imagine, I was confronted with a lot of people saying they couldn't afford it. That was because I had changed my prices without changing my audience. And this is an issue that I see with my clients, I would say almost on the daily. It's an issue with product market fit. Either the product or the service that you're offering doesn't fit with your clientele, or the clientele doesn't fit with the product and service that you're offering. It could be either one. It could be that the offer is not solid, or it could be that the audience is not the people who are really going to respond to that offer. So whenever I work with clients, I always start with them. What's going to make them feel happy? So if I were to coach myself back in that, 10 years ago, I would ask myself, do you like doing design? What are the pieces of the work that feel really good to you? Myself 10 years ago would have said, yeah, I like design, but I love the transformation. I love the reveal. I love when a client can see themselves in a different caliber, right? At a different caliber, at a different stage of their business, just because they have these beautiful, aligned, high functioning assets that support them. That's the part that I love, is the transformation, the leveling up. The design is fine. I like it, but I don't love it. That would have been a really valuable sign. I wish that I would have hired me as a coach 10 years ago, but that would have been really valuable in helping me to course correct in that moment, so I didn't go down the pathway that I ended up going down. The pathway that I'm referring to is basically fast track to burnout, taking on lots and lots of projects, working with many different clients, and not making very much money. That's kind of the worst situation to be in. The people that I was working with at that time, these are people who had more time than money, more ideas than execution, more fantasy than proven reality. So a lot of times when people have an idea and they want to move forward with it, the first place that they stop is branding before they've tested the idea, before they've worked with any clients. These people, I don't actually work with them anymore. And this was a huge shift in my business. As a creative entrepreneur, I know what it's like to feel completely misaligned and overwhelmed. Not that long ago, I had all of these creative ideas swirling around in my mind, 100 different businesses that I wanted to start, but actually translating the ideas into a focused, thriving business felt like an insurmountable challenge. I spent late nights staring at my computer screen, sacrificing my time, my sense of purpose, my health, and my sanity for what I assumed was necessary for my work. You know, part of being a small business owner. At one point, I even asked my therapist if there was a difference between being an entrepreneur and being a workaholic. I couldn't square what I was experiencing. I was bringing in 6 figures into my business, which was my goal the year before. But if my business was so successful, why didn't I feel fulfilled? I looked around at my peers and I saw that I was not alone. On one particularly low day, my whole world changed. I came across an article on life design. It's a concept that came out of Stanford's D School, that focuses on creating your ideal life using a toolkit of mindset, strategy, design, and health practices to build a holistic, comprehensive life that you love. I was immediately hooked, and I became obsessed with how to blend that concept of life design with what I knew so well, business and brand design. I wanted to create a business system that actually fed and nourished the rest of my life. With this North Star guiding me, I created my 4-step Aligned by Design framework. It was all centered on designing a business that nourishes life instead of cannibalizes it. I've experienced firsthand how exponentially more fulfilling and intentional life and business ecosystem can be. And I've worked with well over 100 creative entrepreneurs to help create that same aligned by design lifestyle. If you've ever felt this pain and frustration and have thought, God, there's got to be a better way, then I am so excited to invite you to my free life and business design masterclass. I'll share with you the exact steps that help me transform my creative ideas into a profitable, life-nourishing, scalable business. Using my 4-step proven framework, you can design a radically altered trajectory for your life and business in under an hour and totally free. So if you're ready to take that leap and design a life and business that not only looks amazing, but feels in flowing alignment for you, then join me. You can find the class at brookeestin.com/free masterclass. Let's turn those dreams into reality together. Can't wait to see you there. Now, back to the episode. So a few years ago, when I was feeling pretty confident about the work that I was doing, my ability to project manage, and the quality of the work that I was delivering, I felt pretty confident. So I raised my prices. I started getting less and less of the people who were really struggling to meet that price. And I started attracting more and more people who were ready to make that investment. This is a perspective thing that I noticed also. The clients who had more time than money, they would see paying me as a cost, as an expense. The people who were a little bit further along in their journey, people who were more grounded in their business model, people that had more confidence in their offers, and people that were used to dealing with more money, they were so much easier to work with. I wanted to make an intentional and conscious strategic shift from working with people who had more time than money to people who have more money than time. In my experience, those people trust other professionals more. The people that were early stage, that were still, dealing with their nickels and dimes and feeling really uneasy at any spend without considering the return on the investment that would bring them, that for me became a red flag, a big red flag. So if somebody sees me as a cost instead of an investment, I don't usually continue the conversation with them. As you move forward in your business and you gain more experience, you start to pick up on these different patterns. You start to identify what keeps happening to you over and over again with certain clients. This can be due to the client just not being a good fit, or maybe just being a challenging client, or it can reveal that you have issues with your process. So this was one of the things that completely overwhelmed me when I was working with loads of different clients. And when I say loads, I mean like 40 clients at a time. 40 clients a month, 40 different people per month that I was working with in my own business and through partnerships that I did. For example, when I was a brand strategist with Brand Builders Group, I would have so much to manage in my mind. And I found myself really struggling to remember whose project was which. And I was relying more and more on my notes because my brain was just starting to putter out. So I made this very conscious shift to move to a different type of clientele. I refined my offers. I streamlined my offers. I, quote unquote, productized my offers. So I had something very standard. Then I created workflows. So I started off in a Google Doc or a Google spreadsheet. Then I moved it into my project management tool, which is Asana. So whenever I get a new client, I literally am just duplicating that project and I can move through all of the different steps. I don't have to remember anything anymore. I can outsource that piece of it to my systems. Another thing that I invested in is my own automation systems. So when somebody signs up for example, a freebie or a class that I'm offering or a free offer that I have, I can automatically add them to different places. I can add them to where I do my newsletter, which is called Flowdesk. I can add them to Asana, so they are in my project management system, right? I can do all sorts of different things with this. One of the automations that has completely changed my world is the combination of using jot forms for an application and redirecting to Calendly, which allows people to automatically schedule a call based on when is best for them in their local time zone. Because even though most of my clients are in the United States, I live here in Spain. So coordinating time zones can be incredibly challenging, and it was such a waste of energy. So I decided to make the investment in tools, in automations, in something that would basically, I could pay for these tools, set these tools up, and then I would be buying back my time. I would be liberating my time. So that's something that I did to reduce the overwhelm and burden that I had in my own business in terms of project management, of processing everything, of doing all this manual work. I have a huge document, I think it's like 60 pages, where I have all of my canned emails, and those are automatically queued up for me as soon as the client hits the next stage. So I just have to go in, adjust any links, and then hit send. I don't have to recreate these emails from scratch like I was doing for years. I don't do scheduling anymore. I don't do these emails, writing them from scratch anymore. I'm not manually adding contacts to different platforms anymore. I've created a system that allows all of this to be streamlined, segmented, and solid. It's such a huge liberation of my time. So, what did I do with this extra time? I invested it in shifting my clientele. So now I just looked at my stats from Stripe this morning, and I can say enthusiastically that I am making more money than I did last year, and I have 48% less clients. 48% less clients. I essentially have half of the clients, and I'm making more money than I did before. So my motto is work smarter, not harder. My online shop on my website, brookeestin.com/shop, or through my design agency, iknowagal.co/shop. The name of the shop is called Work Smarter, Not Harder. It's full of resources, of templates, of tools, of recommendations. Many of them have discount codes because I've partnered with several of the businesses that I use in my own business. They were so good, and I was telling people about them anyway. I went forward and created partnerships and affiliate relationships with many of them. My primary values in my life and in my business are integrity first and freedom second. I have more, but those are really my guiding principles. So I never promote anything that I haven't used myself, that I haven't found value in. My goal with creating that shop is to make these tools more accessible, more visible, and less intimidating so people can start integrating them, using them. It overcomes this fear of, I don't know how to work with tech. I don't know how to do tech. A lot of this stuff is pretty easy to set up. You can also hire even a tech VA for like $15 or $20 an hour to help you with a lot of the setup stuff. But it also allows you to feel more professional because more of your business is automated. And it is this sense of confidence and liberation is a byproduct of increasing efficiency in your business. And with that extra time and energy, something gets liberated in that process. Your creativity, your enthusiasm, your sense of your own capacity, because you're not bogged down by all of these tedious admin-y type stuff. So I wanted to just share this in a brief, like mini episode, because it was transformational for me to make that intentional strategic shift to, okay, I do want to keep doing design. I do want to keep helping people level up in their life and in their business. I have a lot of skills around design, around systems, around strategy. So I do feel I'm in alignment with this work, but how do I shift my clientele so that I'm able to have more abundance and momentum and flow and ease in my professional and financial life? So when I did that, I essentially went to my quote unquote best clients. Who were the people that I enjoyed working with the best, that I was able to guide them through a powerful transformation, and who didn't have like issues or like psychological gunk around money, around this money piece, right? I wanted to work with people who thought strategically. For example, I would pay you, any listener right now, if I paid you $100,000 today and you gave me $101,000 tomorrow or next week, that's a great deal, right? Even if I'm making a 1% return on my investment, it's an investment. It's no longer an expense. So people who understand that are the people who can actually grow their businesses in a way that's viable and doesn't break them in the process. If you invest in something that then levels you up, you recuperate that cost and then some. So for me, the biggest shift in my business was moving from people who just wanted to have it done, and they wanted to have it done as cheaply and quickly as possible, to then moving with people who really had a professional perspective on their work, right? They understood the value of high quality design. They understood the value of efficient systems, and they were willing to pay for it because they knew that they were going to recuperate their costs and then profit off of that investment over the long term. So once I understood that and I shifted my focus, it made it so much easier to say no to those clients that I felt didn't really understand that. And it also made me feel much more confident in going deeper with the clients who had said yes. I like to over deliver. It makes me feel good. And I resented over delivering when I was working with the clients that really didn't value what I was offering to the level that I needed them to, right? They were oftentimes in all of the details, micromanaging, wanting more that they paid for. And as somebody who historically struggled with boundaries and saying no, I found myself just getting eaten alive in that process. So I've done my homework on my own personal growth. I've also cultivated my ability to say no. I've learned how to listen to my intuition, which helps me to say no. And now I'm pretty masterful at being able to decipher and distinguish which clients are going to be really wonderful. How am I going to create a wonderful experience for both of us? And which ones that I know are going to be a struggle. And because I have shifted my business, because I've changed the way that I'm making money, I don't have to be in this desperate cycle of just working with anybody who wanted to work with me. Now I'm able to choose who I want to work with. I can choose which projects I say yes to. I have buffer. I have stability. I have all of these things that 10 years ago, the Brooke just starting out on her entrepreneurial journey only dreamed about. So I just wanted to share that mini episode today. Really, the point, everything that I'm saying is leading up to this singular point, which is be very intentional with designing your business model. Business model is just a fancy way of saying, how do you make money? Where does it come from? How often does it come? Who gives it to you? All of these elements that are around how do you generate money and what are you delivering in exchange for that money? Be very intentional about that. Because if you start burning out, you're going to lose more money, you're going to lose more time, and you're going to really erode quite a fair amount of your mental health if you wait until you cannot stand it anymore. So I encourage you to sit with your intuition, to really drop in to what are the conditions that you need in order to thrive in your work so that you can deliver an exceptional final product or transformation or experience for your client. Because it's not just about you, right? It starts with you, but it doesn't end with you. It ends with how am I able to meaningfully serve this client or this customer? So I leave you with that. Hopefully that has sparked something inside you so you're able to sit with and really evaluate what is an aligned way for me to make money and grow my business and serve people in a meaningful, impactful way. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this episode, then check out my latest episodes right here. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I would so appreciate if you took a moment to leave me a review. Don't forget to add your favorite takeaway from the episode. See you next time.